Well, I want to say you're doing an absolutely fantastic job with your life
Yeah.
and dealing with the stuff you deal with and coping with everything else, the family commitment, the life pressure, everything. So you're a champion at what you do.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are not coping as well as you are, the way you present yourself. I don't want to put that out there if you're not, but I feel what I see is you're doing a great job because you're doing things I know you don't feel like doing. You're actually on the top of the food chain when it comes to doing things. You say you're not a people person, but here you are. You associate with people. You don't. Some people will just go in the room and close the door. You're not doing that. You are out there putting yourself out there, and you're doing it with a smile. So congratulations to you. Hey, you're listening to Old Head Mindset with Malik and Ricky Tillman. Today's topic we're going to be speaking on is how to deal with depression.
Yeah, so it's a really big topic, depression. There's a lot of voices which have their 2 cents about how to get through it, what the cause of it is. We're not going to comment in any psychological fashion. We're talking about what it takes mentally to get through it, how certain depressive attitudes can drag you down, and how certain uplifting and positive ways of looking at things can bring you up. So we're at OldHeads Mindset talking about the mindset behind it. So this is given that your health is up to date or you're seeing the proper people necessary. We don't want to comment on that. We're just talking about today what it takes to get through it. Today we have a caller. This is Cilicia from Hello Black Man, people we talk with regularly on all things self-improvement. And she's going to share her experiences, and we're going to have an open dialogue about getting through depression, sometimes what can cause making things worse, and everything in between. So, hello, Cilicia. How are you?
Hi, Malik and Ricky. I am well. How are you guys?
We're doing very well.
We're doing well today.
Yeah. Perhaps you could start by maybe sharing a little bit about your experience.
I thank you guys foremost for having me and giving me this platform to discuss, because depression is something that a lot of us in our culture in America do not address the way that we should. But it's very real and it's very prevalent, because so often we lose things, we lose people, whether it's jobs, whether it's finances, and those things cause a lot of emotional despair. In my case, my sister passed away last year. My sister was 40 years old. She died May 18th, so almost a year ago now. Not quite a year. But when she passed, not only did her demise leave me in despair, but also the financial disparity of the situation kind of was an undertaking for me. So it was not just her death, but it was all of the things that I had to do with, because it's just she and I. She was my only sibling in the world. So not only did I have to deal with her dying and leaving me here with her 2 children, I also had to financially to fund her funeral and all the things that came along with it. So it was depressing in more ways than one. And it was a battle. Like every day I'm still kind of dealing with it, because even post her passing, her ex-husband decided that he's not her ex-husband. He was her estranged husband, because they were still married. He decided that he wanted to take custody of her children, who were living with my parents and I, and we had to go to court for that. So it was an ordeal, right? So as any human, all of this can be very overwhelming.
Wow, that's quite a story.
It is.
First of all, I'm very sorry to hear that you lost your sister and you're going through all of that. It's amazing to hear. It's amazing to experience, the people who you talk to throughout life have this story that, you never know what people are going through or what stories people have. So I just wanted to acknowledge that and commend you for the, being able to do everything that you do in spite of that. You say there are certain things that you regret doing. If you could go back in time to your younger self, or yourself at the beginning of this trauma, or if you could say it to someone else who might be listening, what would you say is the route to navigate being depressed? Like, how do you get out of it?
First and foremost, as I spoke about earlier, accepting the act or accepting the mentality of being depressed. Like, there's nothing wrong with the emotion of depression. Like, do not feel as if you're wrong or if there's a problem with being depressed, because it's a part of human nature. So acknowledge and accept it. And once you acknowledge and accept it, then you figure out how to maneuver and how to even get around, but how to work through it, how to move through it, how to, accept these things, how to communicate with people your feelings and your emotions. Because a lot of people won't understand all the time how you feel. But if you're able to successfully say, hey, listen, this is where I am in this space. Can you help me? Or can I just have this moment to be who I am and be in this moment? Then you're able to successfully get around what you're going through. So I encourage people to tap into their feelings and their emotions, to feel them, to accept them, to embrace them, because you will not be able to get through them without those acknowledgments of them.
Fantastic. And how do you feel about the idea that accepting depression is a good thing, accepting reality, but identifying as depressed is something a little bit different? Do you think that's the case? Do you think that sometimes identifying as depressed can keep you locked into it? Or do you think that is still a part of that process?
I think that if you identify as depressed, it's all a process, right? I don't think it's a negative thing. I don't think that people who are depressed should feel like it's a negative thing. It's absolutely, it's a human emotion, and it's something that you definitely have to work through. And anybody who is around you who is making you feel like the emotion is not okay, they may need to be subsequently checked for things.
An issue I take with, personally, in my experience, identifying with labels too much is that I found in your head there is this belief system about what you are. It's like, it could be for me, Australian, young, student, I'm a resident of this area, I am creative, not very good at this, not very good at that. And I worry that sometimes clinging to the label and adding depressed in that can be a limiting factor in some ways. For example, if there's like an event to go to, it's like, well, I can't do that because I am a anxious person, or I am a unsocial person, I am a depressed person. So I fear that there are times that instead of challenging, a barrier, we can cling to a definition of what we are. Do you just disagree with that, or do you think there's something in there?
I disagree, because I am a depressive. I have high anxiety. I'm not a outgoing person. But when it comes to dealing, or we have a business, right? So therefore, when it comes to promoting and doing things for the sake of my business, I know that I have to snap out of those things in order to push and promote it, right? Mm-hmm. I agree with the fact that, yes, I am a depressive. I am a anti-social person. I do have anxiety, but I am able to go in and out of those things in order to promote and push the things that is important to me. So therefore, I don't know if that's something that you are able to do, or people who have those, barriers are able to do, but it's something that I have been able to push and promote myself.
I see what you mean. I'll quickly speak, then I'll let Dad jump in. So what you're saying is kind of like a job, where like if I'm a lawyer or something, or a doctor, if I'm a doctor, as soon as I come home, the doctor cap comes off. I'm dad, or I'm a brother, or whatever it is. It's kind of like that. Like when there are times for you to put that label to rest, you put it to rest. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Not even necessarily putting it to rest, but just kind of setting it on the shelf for the purpose of me.
I see. So in some regard, you're ignoring that part of yourself for a brief period of time. The issue is sometimes labels leak into other areas of life. Do you think that depression as a label can leak into other areas of your life?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Depression can leak into a lot of things if you sit in it, if you marinate, if you marinate yourself in the label of depression, yes, you can definitely, get into that place where it consumes you. Like, but the goal is to not allow it to consume you. Like, it's okay to sit in it, but it's not okay to allow it to consume you.
Do you have anything to share, Dad?
I am a firm supporter of empowering, using the mind to empower yourself. Have you been able to see for yourself days where you have started out in a low state and you manipulated that, or you've incorporated some of your skills to get you, by the end of the day, you're on top of your depressive state? Have you been able to identify those, and did you acknowledge it as a win, or did you just move on to the next day?
As a depressive, I think that every day kind of, I was trying to make sure I was on mute. I think every day starts off in that mode. I think every day starts off as, woe is me. I am Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. Anybody out there listening knows who Eeyore is. I am like, oh my, why did I have to wake up today? Right. So that is me every day. But as the day goes on and I realize that, hey, God accepted and realize that I deserve to be here today. So guess what? I'm going to make the best of this day. And I'm going to figure out the things that elevate me this day, the things that elevate people around me. And I am definitely a people person. So anything I can do for somebody else to make their day better, that makes me better. So it was a comment y'all made, something y'all said earlier. I can't even remember what it was. But yes, I am that person who wants everybody else's life around me to be the best it can be. And that kind of uplifts me. And yes, when I go home at night, I work at the nursing home on the weekend. It is the most fun I have. The car is on. It's the most fun I have because I am bringing life to somebody else's life. I am helping them to have fun in their latter days. So yes, I am that person. Every day that I make it through the day is a win for me. So yes, I definitely wake up with the initiative to be great, to make somebody else great. And I definitely have that, aspiration every day to smile, to laugh, to make somebody else laugh. So yes, I consider it a win.
Okay, so do you acknowledge the win? Have you ever acknowledged the win?
I don't know about acknowledgement. I don't know if I get home and be like, yes, today was a win. But now that you bring it to my attention, I'm going to do better at it. So I definitely have not gotten home and been like, woo, today it was a win.
Yeah.
Go move forward with that energy. I think that will make everything better.
My dad taught me to focus on acknowledgement, because if you're in a depressive state, you're always going to focus on the negative. And then it's kind of like if you're reading a book and you only focus on the negative things which happen in the book, and then you close the book, you realize, wow, that was a negative book. But if you read the same book, give it to someone else, and they read all the positive things and they acknowledge the positive things, and then they close the book, and I'm like, God, that book had so many positive things in it. And I realized that after he told me that if you fail to acknowledge the wins, your brain will focus on the negative way more on the positive. So you need to put in the extra work to focus on the positive and to balance it out at the very least, if not make things seem more positive. Yeah,
I look at it as a reserve. So life is going to constantly come at you, and you're going to feel how you feel. But when you acknowledge wins along the way, when things get tough, then you can refer back to things you did right, things you were able to achieve, and then you sort of somewhat balance it out a little bit. So, and you can do that by acknowledging your wins. It's very important. And so I'm glad you picked up on that and start practicing that going forward. It's just more armor for you to cope with how you feel every day. And when you have those wins, you acknowledge those wins, then you're going to be feeling more empowered in your position. So that's I'm glad we brought that up, and I'm really pleased that we can get that out to the people.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for your input today and your and participating with OldHeads Mindset. Malik, you have any more questions?
No, that we covered a lot, so thank you very much for sharing. Is there anything you would like to say?
I just want to say thank you guys for allowing me to share my story. I appreciate it. OldHeads Mindset, whoever is out there listening, be sure to follow, like, share, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you guys.
No worries. Awesome. How do you think she's seeing things in the right areas or some areas where she can improve?
Well, we just identified one area she could improve in, and that was acknowledging the win.
That was a good one.
What she to me she's very good at is very she's self-aware.
Very.
And she thinks a lot. So when she's thinking a lot, she's also learning as she go.
Yeah.
But it's certain areas that's being ignored. You know, the mind can only focus on so much.
Yeah.
But some areas she's on the money on, and her instincts and her intuition and her strength.
Yeah. She's very intuitive.
Yeah.
Very intuitive. Yeah. That can sometimes that can be an issue with depression though. It's because you're so your emotions are so developed, and you're always thinking about things and emoting about things and seeing what other people feel and so on.
Yeah.
I think she they say that people who are neurotic, right? It's one of the 5 big personality types, neurotic. They also care for a lot about other people. So her her ability, I think she says she works in a nursing home. People who work in a nursing home,
she's a nurse, yeah,
are disproportionately higher in care for other people and neuroticism, and it's a double-edged sword.
Like some people who are not good at getting off the seat when they feel bad. They isolate, close the doors, shut the windows. They don't want to be around people. She's one that say, well, I don't feel like being around people, but I put myself around. Yeah, that goes back to the things you fear the most, you need to go toward.
Yeah.
The things you don't want to do the most is the things you do.
Yeah.
It's a lot, that is the key, one of the keys to coping in depression.
Yeah.
If you don't feel like going outside, and you say that to yourself, then you need to be going outside.
Yeah.
You don't feel like getting off the couch, then you're at your lowest state, and that's exactly what you need to do, get off the couch.
Yeah.
All right? So
Definitely. Thank you all for listening, and if you have anything to comment or any opinions, or you want to wish her a good job, comment down below and she'll see it. And thank you very much.
Okay. If you like what you're listening to, hit the subscribe button and keep following us on OldHeads Mindset Podcasting.